Hello, this is Crucien. Thank you for joining my channel. I wanted to talk to you about my review on Dark Souls 3. Now, I haven't been excited about a game like this for a long time. I got a little bit excited and hyped up for The Division, and then I decided not to buy it. But this game, fucking hands down, the best game I've played in a very long time. First, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my gripes. There are two big concerns I have so far that hopefully get patched up soon or fixed. The first thing is the lock-on targeting system is atrocious at times. Now, if you're a melee build, you have nothing to worry about. If you're this close to an enemy and you're just one-on-one, the lock-on system is completely fine. But for us mages, see, my first build is a sorcerer / pyromancer, so I deal with all the different magics, including faith and dark magic. If I'm battling an enemy that's further out and I need to hit them, even if they don't even move or I don't even move, sometimes the lock-on system will just disappear and I hit the ground. For example, several boss fights, I'll be fighting a boss. Of course I'm a mage, so I have to be further away from them. I'll be locked on and everything. It takes 2 or 3 seconds for my magic to actually charge up. And then once it charges up, the lock-on system just disappears and I hit nothing. So that is a very, very big thing that needs to get fixed because us sorcerers are fucking... We need that to work, especially in PvP. My only other biggest gripe is that Dark Souls 3 is amazing now, and PvE is where it's strongest at. PvP is something that they're still experiencing and fixing every day. Now the PvP is pretty damn good if you're a melee build, which is almost every other build other than anyone who uses magic or range. Now what happens is in magic, now like I said, I'm a sorcerer / pyromancer, so I use pretty much every magic in the game, including dark magic, which is also very, very amazing. I have problems with PvP and magic. Any kind of dex build will just tear my ass up. They're so fast, plus they have a ranged weapon like a katana. They could just keep poking at me all day and I won't be able to hit them. That is a very, very big thing that needs to be fixed because for us mages, it takes 2 or 3 seconds to charge, even with the right rings. Even if it's shortens the spell casting time, it still takes about a good 2 seconds to let one good spell out. Now, one of the biggest mistakes about Dark Souls magic users is every spell is pretty much predictable. So if you're going up against a mage, you know what's up their sleeve. If you play Dark Souls 2, you know about the basics. Dark Souls 3 has a lot of new spells. Only a small handful of them are useful in PvP. Like for example, Lightning Stake. When you throw the lightning bolts, there's this one that you fucking slam on the ground and does a lot of AoE damage. But there's not enough to surprise your attacker. Anyone knows that if any mage is charging up an attack, is just to roll out of it. That's it. And even if you have some melee ones like a Soul Greatsword, or in Dark Souls 3 now we have some kind of a dark hammer thing we slam down, which is pretty cool. Still, it takes about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. And anyone knows that if any mage is charging something up, just simply roll out of the way. That is something huge that just needs to be addressed. So hopefully we don't see this in Dark Souls 4 or Bloodborne 2 or whatever other games are going to be coming out with. We need magic to be more unpredictable and more competitive in PvP. See, anyone can come up with a couple katanas, and sure you have to know their movesets and everything to be able to battle them the right way. And I'm not saying I lose every PvP match, but it's a good solid amount that I'm losing. That's just pissing me off so much because everyone knows just to roll out of every spell casting I do. So those are just the 2 biggest gripes I have about Dark Souls 2, and now I'm going to be talking about the good things. Some of the things that Dark Souls did right, which is most of my list. One thing is Dark Souls 3 has the same engine as Bloodborne, so we can expect some of the great graphics we see from Bloodborne put into this game, and we do. We see great atmospheres. We see the dark and eerie, just like Dark Souls 1 and 2, but better. It is very gruesome. And I love how they put this in the game where you could see everything in your distance you could actually go to. It was actually a level in the game. Everything in the far distances you could go to and travel to whenever you want. And I love that. Because I know that one of the games, you know, it was all about the draw distance and being able to see all these landscapes, but not being able to touch them. I like how they brought it back to kind of like the Dark Souls 1 feeling, where you could actually go anywhere you wanted to. Another thing, sorry, I have a list here. There's just so much to talk about. I like how they introduced the same kind of atmospheres we've seen through the past games. Like people say, if it's not broken, why fix it? It is the same depressing atmosphere with the, you know, with all these maniacal characters that are all insane, and it's just so fun to watch and play. You have all these sarcastic assholes. Like, everything is actually really fucking cool and depressing and sad. And I know that you shouldn't be playing like a sad game, but no, like they do so well. If you're a Souls player, you know. Another thing, the more customizations. In Dark Souls 2, there were almost like a limitless amount of customizations you could do to your character. You know, you could make your sword fucking have fire on it, poison damage, more resistances with your armors, so many rings you could put on. Same thing with Dark Souls 3. There are so many things to do, mostly as only a melee build. I wish I could go around with my staff and put like more fire damage on it. I could still plus it up. I could still plus it, but I can't change the base damage on it. Like what a tank can do to their sword. They can make it raw, meaning it does more damage, more base damage, and they can just go swinging, you know, up to like level 10 or whatever. More customizations. I hated how in Bloodborne there were only like a few sets of armors and a few sets of weapons. I didn't play the DLC for Bloodborne. I didn't really care to. The old Hunters DLC. I actually did play a little bit of it. I didn't finish it. But it wasn't... No, I still... Bloodborne was still amazing. I'm not saying it's not amazing. But when it came to customizations, it wasn't like Dark Souls 2, where you had like 50,000 weapons to choose from. You could switch out your weapons whenever you wanted. In Dark Souls 3, they actually bring it back. It's kind of like Dark Souls 2, but more. You have more weapons, more classes. Right now you can actually be an archer. Now, remember in Dark Souls 1 and 2, where being an archer was kind of just an idea you could think about? Or you could only practice it in the very end game, but you can only snipe. In this one, you can actually be a good archer. There are builds just going around archer. There's actually good equipment for them. There's good bows that you find throughout the game, and not just end game. So it's really cool to see. I love those dex bows. Are using them like quite often right now. Yeah, more customizations, more weapons, more infusing options. It's really cool. You can actually be a ranger. PvP and PvE. PvP is a little bit better than it was in Dark Souls 2. The hitboxes aren't as fucked up. Servers are more solid. And the PvE experience is much better than Dark Souls 2. Now, Dark Souls 1 was a masterpiece when it came to the big-ass bosses, the eerie atmosphere. Dark Souls 2, you could tell that the bosses all kind of looked the same. You know, it was just pretty much a giant with big armor. Now, I know that the story was about giants wanting revenge, but it kind of got old when it came to boss fights. Most of everyone was just a big guy in a suit of armor. Dark Souls 1, you know, you had wolves, you had big fucking creatures, you had fucking girls attached to fucking spider legs like Quelaag. You know, you had so much. Was Quelaag in Dark Souls 1? Shit, I don't remember. But my point is, you know, in Dark Souls 2, most of everyone was just a big guy in armor. Dark Souls 3, there are I haven't seen really, I've seen probably like 2 guys in armor. And that is the Abyss Watchers and Pontiff so far. I'm 50 hours in the game. I haven't got to the last boss, but I think I'm like 2 areas away from it. But yeah, the PvP, more solid. The Covenants are actually really cool still. Very interactive, especially the Dark Moon Covenant. It's so fucking cool. So yeah, PvE, we see the big bosses come back. good. This game is also good for several playthroughs, just like any other Souls game. I played each one except for Demon Souls about 3 times over. And it's fun to have a game where you can actually be interested in going through the whole thing again with a different character altogether. I love that about games. A lot of games don't have that, you know, you just go through the playthrough and then that's it. You don't really care to do it over again with a different build. I love how they implemented this. I mean, it's been implemented since number 1, but they have a strong emphasis on, oh, how about this build? The dexterity build looks fucking cool, or the tank build, or why not go around with a bunch of spells and just fuck shit up? It's fucking amazing to see, and yeah, like I said, I'm 50 hours in so far. I'm almost done with my first playthrough. I'm gonna go ahead and play New Game Plus probably once or twice, and then go ahead with a dexterity build, because that's my next build that I want to do. Lastly, the music and the sound design still spot on. You still have the orchestra, you still have the choirs, you know, that eerie choir, you know, like those fucking amazing songs, especially in the boss fights. It's just, it brings the whole game fucking to a complete game. It's amazing. I'm gonna give this game a 9.5 out of 10. You must go out and buy it. Yeah, like I said, I haven't been excited about a game like this in such a long time, and I'm glad to see that this one actually lived up to its hype. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching.